What's up guys, Rand Razor here with another tech video for you guys today, and today we take a quick look and review of the all-new 2016 15-inch Touch Bar MacBook Pro. So for those of you who order this off the Apple online store, it's going to come in this really fancy UPS packaging here. So slicing this open, the first thing we're introduced with, of course, is the MacBook Pro packaging. And in terms of specs, I pretty much maxed out everything with a 2.9 GHz i7 processor, 16 GB of RAM, the 464 GB ATI Radeon's graphics card, and the only thing I kept the same was the 512 GB SSD. And like everyone else, you have to pick up all these new adapters that pretty much put another dent in your wallet. So removing the shrink wrap, popping the top open, the first thing we introduce with, of course, is the 15-inch Space Gray MacBook Pro itself. Next, we have our USB-C cable to charge our MacBook. Your manual is in here. That includes your Apple stickers, limited warranty information, as well as a quick start guide. And last but not least is the charger itself, which no longer has that option where you can prop up two hooks to wrap around the cord, unfortunately. But at least the cable is now removable from the actual charger. So let's check out this all new machine. Now, if I remember correctly, the minute we open this lid, it's actually going to start up. And it actually does. Alright, so here's the all-new 2016 MacBook Pro in a gorgeous space gray, and is available in a silver for those of you who like the classic silver. Anyways, taking a quick overview of the features and what has changed on the new 15-inch MacBook Pro here. The new MacBook does feature a smaller form factor, not by a whole lot, coupled with the thinner design. Most of you guys will appreciate this for those of you who have to lug this around campus. Take a look at the top. The most notable change is the removal of the glowing Apple logo, and now we just have one single shiny Apple logo to match the color space gray. My most favorite change has to be the removal of that dreaded cheap plastic hinge that was on the back of the previous models here. This definitely gives the MacBook a cleaner look and also a stronger structural design. As y'all know, Apple removed all legacy ports except for the headphone jack, which is a big surprise considering the iPhone doesn't have it any longer, with now 4 USB-C ports that are Thunderbolt 3 compatible, which means you can charge it, you can transfer information, all that sorts, which is, I guess, something that we'll move on to in the future, but as of right now, you're probably going to have to buy some adapters with this computer. Nothing to really see on the bottom of the MacBook here. We still have pentalobe screws holding the bottom plate together. Traditional Apple rubber feet, which wear down pretty quickly. I put these pieces of skin on to keep them from wearing. And the biggest thing are the intake ports here are significantly larger than the previous model, so the laptop should stay a little bit cooler over time. The biggest change that you can see on here is the larger size trackpad. Now, everything is as good as it was last year, except in a bigger size. My only complaint really is the haptic feedback. It feels more artificial compared to the last year's model, where it felt more like a physical click. This one here, you can tell it doesn't feel like an actual click, where last year's model, the haptic feedback felt like an actual click. So it's just a small thing, but something I just want to throw at you guys. The next, of course, is the second generation butterfly keyboard. Now, first, I do kind of hate this keyboard, but at the same time, I've gotten used to it like anybody else would with any style keyboard. The travel between the keys and the actual actuation of the key is significantly shorter, which is something you will notice coming from a previous Apple product. That being said, I think the only thing that the keyboard really takes away is comfort. The previous generation had a softer, mushier feeling, and I think that helped absorb some of that energy when you actually press the key, whereas this keyboard here with the butterfly mechanism, there's no softness or mushiness to it, so when you press the key, all that energy from that press is reflected back at your keys. So, or at your finger, sorry. And although that sounds kind of silly, when you're typing a long essay or something like that, you're going to notice that your fingers might feel a little bit more fatigued than compared to previous generations. The screen of the MacBook remains the same at 2560 by 1600, so the resolution is the same thing, but the biggest difference is mainly the brightness and the colors. Colors are a little bit more vivid, so they do pop out a little bit more, but for me the biggest change is the brightness. I always found the previous generations Retina screen to be not as bright as it could be, especially when you're working in a lecture hall filled up with sunlight, but the brightest screen certainly is a welcome choice for those of you who like to work in bright environments. So it's been about 2 months since the first half of the video, and my impressions on the MacBook has been so far okay. As someone coming from the previous Retina MacBook Pro, the new 2016 model is certainly a nice refresh. Bold new design, thinner form factor, and more up-to-date specs makes this MacBook an attractive choice for new MacBook users. Although Apple has refreshed the MacBook Pros after 4 years of the Retina models, as someone who has experienced both, In the end, I don't think the user experience with the new computers really justifies the need to upgrade to this model, let alone buying this as a new machine. As noted in some other reviews of this new computer and my own experience, I don't think the performance of these computers really makes it that much different compared to the 2015 model. Normal web browsing to email and stuff like using Word feels the same, and the only noticeable difference for me was a slight increase in exporting videos on Final Cut for my uses. The touch bar, the newest feature of these new MacBooks, although seems flashy and usable, in the end I don't see much practical use out of it. Granted, shortcuts on the touch bar that adapt to the program that you have open seems like a cool idea, but in the end I find in most cases it doesn't make using it more efficient or quicker, such as for me using keyboard shortcuts on Final Cut is faster than looking down at the touch bar. There are a few highlights though, for example the Touch ID, which uses the same technology as the iPhones and iPads, is now implemented on the MacBooks and certainly makes entering your MacBook without a password quicker and easier. In the end, although the new MacBooks are a big refresh for the lineup, the user experience hasn't really changed much. The touch bar, although a cool nifty feature, doesn't add to the overall user experience, but at the same time it doesn't really take anything away from the MacBook either. Since the battery life hasn't improved on the computer and the performance of this computer really isn't that much different than the previous 2015 model, it makes it really hard to justify the increase in price on these new machines. If you're in the market for a new MacBook, I'm amazed to say you may want to save yourself a good few $100s and find a new 2015 model. As for me, the user experience didn't really change much between the two generations. So what do you guys think? Would you go all out on the new models, or maybe keep the one that you have right now till Apple does something a little bit more spectacular? Let me know in the comment section there down below. In conclusion guys, for those of you who are in the market for a new MacBook Pro, I'm not saying the 2016 models are a bad choice. They're really nice computers, and for those of you just looking for a nice refresh, then definitely I do recommend it, as I so far haven't had any problems with this particular machine. That being said, for the money that Apple is asking, it's just hard to justify the value of these computers when the overall user experience really hasn't changed that much, if at all, compared to the 2015 model. Anyways, thanks for watching guys, hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you guys have any questions or comments about this new computer, let me know in the comment section there down below. Hit that like button, as always helps me out, and I'll see you all in the next video.